please leave your question at the chat box. I just like to inform you that this webinar we are streaming it to our Facebook Live, Kuala Lumpur Engineering Science Fair Facebook. So please help us to like and share the video. Okay, now I would like to introduce to you our today's speaker. We have Adik Muhammad Irfan bin Mazlan and Adik Irdina binti Yusuf. Both of them are students from SMK Bandar Uda Utama Johor. Okay, so Adik Irfan and Adik Irdina is the finalist for Regeneron ISEF 2020. All right, now without further ado, I would like to turn the time over to our speaker, Adik Irfan and Adik Irdina. Thank you.
Okay, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So my name is Muhammad Irfan, and this Irdina is my friend from SMK Bandar Uda Utama. So today we are trying to represent the intelligent disabled parking lot detector. So this product is created for the sole purpose of being to prepare and made ready for the disabled person parking spaces. In this case, we are trying to prevent any misuse and misconduct towards any parking spaces for the disabled. As you may know, sometimes disabled parking spots are usually used by the able body, such as me and others who misuse them. So sometimes the people with disability, they have a tough time searching or using their own parking spaces. So it is not good for them. Thus, this also proven according to the WHO World Health Organization, 1 to 3% of country population consist of disabled people. They are usually being discriminated or being looked down upon. So in this case, it is not only a problem in Malaysia, but it is also a problem in around the world. So it's an international problem. Now, our product is consists of MFRC 522 RFID card, an ultrasonic sensor, and a card identification. This allow more personal use for the disabled person, so they can use it themselves without having problem with other able person misusing them. So the impact of a product will it will help around 409,269,000 people, 100 people, disabled people. Second, it can avoid able people from using parking lot for disabled people, reduce the workload of authorities, parties such as city council and state government. It is also easy to install and low price. Now we can see here the before and after the implementation. The current situation, the before situation is that law enforcement or any security needs to file or prevent these people from having their parking spaces taken manually. So after the implementation, less manpower can make more people disciplined, and it can be very efficient. So that is for the slide. Next, I will go for the video. Stop.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Irfan bin Mazlan from Malaysia, Johor Bahru, Johor, and today I'm going to talk about our product called the Intelligent Disabled Parking Lot Detector. So the main purpose of our product is to prevent misuse and misconduct for the parking spaces for the disabled, so that the disabled people can use them and not finding other places, so they can use them very frequently and easily. So those parking spaces are now sometimes being abused by the able community, and it is not a very moral thing to do, because it is very tough for the disabled people to find their parking spaces. So our product can help those things from happening, because our product can prevent any misuse and misconduct for the parking spaces for the disabled. Our product consists of one Arduino, one RFID scanner, one ultrasonic sensor, two servo, one switch, and one buzzer. According to WHO World Health Organization, 1 to 3% of a country's population consists of disabled people. This means that Malaysia has a population of 25 million, comprising of 250,000 disabled people. In Penang, Swansea, and Toronto, many drivers had been fined for illegally parking at the disabled parking spaces. Now, as you can see, these are not only a problem in one country, but it is an international problem from Malaysia to Canada to America. Now we go to the impact of our product. Our product will help 409,269 disabled people avoid able people from using parking lot for the disabled people, reduce the workload of authorities such as city council or state government, easy to install and use, and lastly, low cost of implementation. That's it from me today. My name is Muhammad Irfan bin Mazlan. Thank you for lending me your ears and your time. Goodbye. Hello, my name is
Okay, now that's it for the disabled parking lot detector. Now we go to the main subject that we are talking about today, which is to prevent inequality. Now, we will touch on most of the point in preventing inequality towards disabled people. So now we go now. The latest figures obtained by the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific from the Department of Social Welfare on 31st March 2011 showed that there are around 300,000 disabled people in Malaysia. With disabilities. Now, the accuracy of this figure is, however, questionable, given that it would be representing only 1% of Malaysian with disability. Now, this will express its disappointment at the inadequacy of official data on the number of children with disability and people with disability. There's also a lack of up-to-date statistic regarding the participation of disabled person in different areas of life, for example, education and employment. Despite the lack of statistical data available, patterns of employment of discrimination in relation to access of person with disabilities to educate and have been identified, person of disability in Malaysia continue to face real difficulties in assessing employment, education, housing, and public spaces and facilities. It is unfavorable and biased, leading to a stagnation and exclusion. It is also noteworthy that Malaysia has special provisions in Immigration Act 1959 /63 Section 8B, which denies entry to people with mental illness on the ground that they may be dangerous to the community, thus discriminating directly on the basis of disability. Now, the promotion of the employment of people with disability has long been an important policy objective in Malaysia. Besides, since the declaration of the International Year of Disabled Person in 1980, the launch of the World Programme of Action concerning disabled person in 1982, the Malaysian government has opened up a space of people with disability to improve their quality of life by introducing a range of policies and programs based on propaganda, welfare responsibility. The Labour Department in the Peninsula Malaysia also has contributed services to people with disabilities. This department handles the registration and job placement for people with disability in the public and private sectors. Now, several studies have shown that bias of discrimination in hiring people with disability is still rampant throughout the world. Most of the literature on the topic has revealed that people with disabilities are often viewed negatively. There are also a bias against meeting with them due to a prejudice and misconception, which prevalent among the public regarding their ability to perform and compete in the job market. They are normally not given priority as compared to their counterparts without disabilities. To aggravate the situation, they are often stereotyped as a helpless, dependent, and in need of assistance. Some argues that the main factor contributing to the problem faced by people with disabilities are not their physical condition, but the social pressure. Furthermore, lack of understanding about the culture of people with disabilities, stereotyping, and the various obstacles they encounter often cause them to be marginalized in the employment market. In Malaysia, of an estimate 2.4 million people employed in the last 10 years, only 3,523 people are with disabilities. and they are employed mainly in the private sector. This number is very small in niche. It shows that utilizing people with disabilities as a potential human resource has yet to be explored. Additionally, data from Malaysia Social Security Organization (SOCSO) showed that Malaysia recorded a total of 56,698 cases of industrial accident in 1982, and the number had escalated to 100,000 to 124,000 in 1991. Due to an increase in industrial as well as road accident, this scenario will contribute directly towards the increasing number of people with disabilities, as well as those who are removed from the job market due to their disabilities. There are also estimated 80,000 cases of accidental injuries in workplaces reported each year in Malaysia, and 3,000 of the injuries experience permanent disability. In the case of severe accident-related disabilities, the victim usually opted out of working, although they need not have done so had they been offered appropriate task and supporting facilities. This would be done in several ways. First, the provision and barrier-free environment suited to persons with disability would enable them to return to work. Second, they would be provided with suitable transport to reach the workplace. Third, the person should be able to make more accessible. Facilities such as these would encourage them to return to work and to utilize their experience expertise. This study is employed both quantitative and qualitative research approach to elicit information on the challenge that Malaysian have been encountered disabled in the world of employment. For quantitative part of the data is based on the survey carried out in the northern states in Malaysia, the states of Perlis, Kedah, Penang, and Perak. The samples are divided into two groups, namely people with disabilities of all types and employers. The sample for people with disabilities was identified through the appropriate non-government organization (NGOs). Next, my friend Idina will carry on with the talk.
Okay, so the data for the employers was collected through a postal survey. Structured questionnaire was sent to about 215 private companies operating in the 4 northern states of Peninsular Malaysia in 2010. And the sample was selected at random from a list published on the government website and from the yellow pages. The variables in the questionnaires include the company backgrounds, their experience in employing people with disability, their perception about such employance, and about the barrier that they have to face when employing people with disabilities. Also, 215 questionnaire was sent out. The return rate was only 15.6%, which is 39 respondents only from the employer samples. Though this return rate is not encouraging, it does covers employees from two of the most industrial states in the northern regions, which is Penang and Perak. The sample selection for the respondent with disability was based on the number of persons who were registered for the year 2009 with the Department of Social Welfare in each northern state identified for this study. Of the total number of 277,000 Malaysians with disability who had registered, for about 73,545 were from the 4 states in the northern peninsula Malaysia. For the purpose of this research 0.6% or 478 of those registered in the 4 northern states of Peninsular Malaysia were selected, as shown in the table 1. Face-to-face interview as well as focus group meeting were conducted with the entire sample, and research tools such as structured and semi-structured questionnaire were employed. However, the respondent did not give a specific and complete answer to some of the questions, especially the one who pertaining to government policies and the provision of employment for the people with disability. The lack of response is a limitation and could be due to the respondents' limited educational backgrounds and poor knowledge of government policies.
So thank you for my friend Irina. That is for the prevention of inequality towards disabled people. Now, There are also other inequality towards other type of things, which is women. In this case, usually in the workplaces, men are paid more than women because of this stereotype that women are lesser than men. Now, this inequality is unfair and very, very sexist towards women. This can be very bad for the future of the community of mankind, because the social studies we've seen so far have led that women have a higher percentage of be more successful than men because they are persistent. Now, because some higher ups in the workplace have a lot of discriminative workplace environment, women are having tougher times working in Malaysia and other places, of course. This shows that how the community of the workplace is sometimes toxic towards women. There are many cases that women are looked down upon because of their work and because of their gender. It is unfair and not equal towards their peers or their colleagues. Other than women, it is also discriminatory. We also need to prevent inequality towards other races. For example, some company, they don't necessarily like to let other people that are not the same race as them to work with them, because they have this stereotype thinking that they won't get along with each other, which is not true, because sometimes mixing different things together would allow a more stable combination of work power, which can lead to many success. I've seen this many times, especially in sometimes in Malaysia. It is also very good to learn from the other communities so that we can work together and be more efficient at our work. Other than that, the inequality towards people with disability I've said it already, that people with disability are looked down upon because of their disability. They lack things that other employees have. So this can lead them to discriminate towards them, and people might think they do have sometimes normally people will have this prejudice idea that disabled people need help. They need help because they are disabled. It is not good for them, because that will sometimes lower their morality. They will feel that they don't have uh, the ability to do things themselves, which is not good. We need, as the able community, we need to help them. We need to give them more confidence so they can do things for themselves, and they can be more confident with themselves. This allow them to be more motivated, and this will allow them to be more concentrated towards the work they are doing, which can lead to efficiency and work getting done. Now, I hope all of you enjoy what I said. So, any of you have any questions to ask about how to prevent inequality towards any kind of problems? If you don't have, I can carry on with with the disability about the people with disability prevention for the inequality. So next we go to the anti-discrimination legislation and employment rights for the people with disability. Uh, it have moved the central policy of developed countries, the emerging importance of the role of the future of people with disability in society is a necessity by the paradigm shift from the charity to a human rights approach. According to the human rights approach, the universal human rights to better quality of life should not be so exclusively of able-bodied citizens only, but a privilege extend to people with disabilities too. In Malaysia, the human rights approach is slowly uh, permeating into a country political institutional mechanism reflecting in national agendas such as Vision 2020 blueprint that advocates a suitable, caring, and socially inexclusive Malaysia society. In the regard, adoption of the human rights approach is timely and considered as a key of presecate a milestone to enable and qualify Malaysian to be developed nation by 2020. To this end, several policy for people with disabilities have since been formulated. However, this paper argues that these policies have failed to deliver in terms of establishing an equitable, socially inexclusive, discrimination-free working environment for Malaysians. Going and continue to persist in Malaysian workplaces, this paper contends that Malaysians' aspiration to be a caring and socially inclusive society by 20 is being challenged and at stake. If issues of workplace discrimination against Malaysian people with disabilities are not solved in a time manner, they are facing trouble in finding a job, but in any cases being employed with lower income job. Several barriers have been identified as factors that hampered people with disabilities from getting jobs such as, you know, driver sometimes, even doctors and engineers. The economic social pressure as well as negative perception can make them fall into depression. This is what I was saying because as people with able body, we should give them morality to go forward and do what they want to do, because this will end up being a negative thing if we discriminate towards them. If we don't stop discriminating towards disabled people, they already have a guilt for themselves for not being able to be a normal person. But if we discriminate towards them, the negative thinking will only continue. Next, this adjustment has enhanced the position of people with disability from being perceived as burden and helpless to those who are potentially in society, as suggested just now. It is disabled people are like untapped resources. We can make them uh, more better for our country and in society itself to go towards a better future. We cannot just think that they cannot do work because they are disabled. They can, but we need to mold a work to better uh, help them to improve on themselves and also improve society itself. This can sometimes be good. In this case, it should be good because it is a milestone of achievement if we are able to find a conclusion that will help the people with disabilities. We can go have more work workforce, we can utilize the people with disabilities to work with us to better our lives. So next, despite this substantive idea of using people with disabilities and molding a work with them so they can do more better job and have a better quality of life, the question might still subsist on the likelihood of people with disability to be employed. Now, considering the perception of employers on their abilities, potential, and capabilities, it has been it has shown many evidence that many studies have think that employers negative perception is one of the inhibitors that stops people from disabilities from having work, because as I said, they have this discriminatory and negative thinking that people with disability will not get the job done. People with disability would only slower the work rate, and people with disabilities are sometimes stereotyped as giving bad luck for them because they are disabled. It is not. It is this type of stereotypical things that prevent disabled disabled people from being a functioning member of society. Now, this provision, now this idea of tapping into the workforce of disabled people uh, have a lot of benefits. The provision benefits are when it promises a stable employment yet doubtful when the employer is the one to evaluate the people with disabilities abilities, providing suitable places for employment and conducting proper employment management, and commonly seen as hardies for employers. Some employers realize of their social obligation but reluctant to spend for the sake of few. Next, the current studies connecting disabled people in Malaysia are limited. Now, but it's heartening to note that they have gained an increasing attention in recent years. Several studies explore the experience of Malaysians with disabilities, including workplace challenges consisting of discriminating, exploiting, and bullying. Employment outcome, the nature and quality of relation with superiors, um, organization support, and workplace adjustment. Other studies focus disabilities issues at large, including laws of governing accessible people with disabilities, opportunities, and challenges people with disability in Malaysia employment arena. And critical factors influencing employment of Malaysia with disabilities. Currently, studies concerning disabled people in Malaysia are limited, but it is heartening to note that uh, they have stopped focusing a lot on this because Malaysia have set forth a typical standard for disabled people. It is because they are disabled that sometimes they are given things. They are just hand out things because people view them as someone that needs to be helped. People view them as someone that needs support from us. But sometimes people with disability, they want to be more independent. They want to do things themselves because they know they can. But we, as the able community, we don't allow them to utilize their own courage and their own talent. Now, like like other past disability studies in Malaysia, the current study provides convincing uh, empirical evidence to support the notion that more needs to be done for Malaysia with disabilities. Hiring decisions that employers make regarding people with disabilities are significant in many ways. Now, the focus on medical needs for the child with disabilities also being highlighted. Child with disabilities are sometimes getting bullied at school. Now, sometimes at school, there are some students that cannot understand why people have disabilities. Now, this will turn out into a bad thing because this will make the children with disability to be more negative thinking. They will think that they are a burden to society, a burden to their families, and a burden to well himself or herself. In this case, bullies are well. We start off at school, correct? We started at school. Now, bullies are the first wall for people with disabilities. They were constantly being discriminated by the bullies, uh, cursed upon and looked down upon by the able community of this student in school. Now, this will change the perspective of the disabled person. They will think that they are useless. They will think that why did they have to be disabled? Now, this can spark an expression of depression, which can be a negative thing. A depression can lead to suicide. Now, if we want to combat the inequality towards disabled people, we must start off from the start, which is school. Students or teachers need to teach other students to be more respectful towards the other community, the disabled community. In this case, it will allow a better future for the disabled people. They will have more confidence. They will have um, more opportunities to speak for themselves. Now, I'm sorry. Now, this will allow them to have a brighter future. And this will also allow them to stand up for themselves. Now, in this case, people will when the school problem is concluded, students will stop will be taught how to show respect toward disabled people and stand on two grounds with them, stand equally with them. So we not only can help them, but they can in turn help us to be more respectful, to be more positive, and to give hope to other people that we should not practice discriminative behavior because it is a negative thing. I'm sorry. Now, the other stage of discriminatory towards a disabled body is after school, for example, work or university. Now, they will have more problem facing them in university or work because school is a confined space for children or teenagers, but work, in the other hand, is a space or a socially full society. Grown-ups and adults, they will look towards you and they will judge you. Now, people with disability, getting judged is one of the how do I say this? Um, it's not good. They don't feel great being judged by other people. They don't like being stared at, though some of them don't mind it because they are used to it. But we should, they the workplace should be more positive towards disabled people because now imagine going to a meeting for your work, then suddenly people around the meeting are staring at you because you are different from them. Because you, for example, lose a limb or you don't have a leg, and they will stare at you constantly and not focus on the meeting. So the disabled people could either feel nothing because they are used to it, or they could feel awkward. They could feel the judgmental eyes from the people with the able body, and it's not, as I said, it's not good. It can lead to many things that is negative, but some of them have learned how to uh, feel nothing from from the gazes of people. This shows a lot about human society itself. It shows that human society have grown to be adaptive towards negative thinking. We have been exposed to many negative things that we simply don't care. We simply don't care about people judging us. We simply don't care about how people talk to us, and it is not good. It's not a very good idea to be practicing this thing. Now, next we'll be going. I would like to ask again, if any of you have any question, you can just ask it in the chat so I can read them and answer them. So, do any of you have any question first? So, none of you have any questions? Okay. If none of you have any question, we can go on about policies to reduce inequality in poverty. Now, poverty is a very big problem. You're welcome. Poverty is a very big problem in society because um, a lot of people in Malaysia, some have been considered and have been certified as people with poverty. Poverty is people that don't have the means or the necessity to towards life, or I mean just daily lives. For example, food, clothing, house, place to live. Now, reducing inequality towards poverty and promoting equity are important macroeconomic objectives. The widening income gap between the rich and the poor has heightened the need to understand causes to relative inequality and poverty, and to construct suitable policies to reduce poverty and narrow the income gap. Some of you may know some there's some words in the community about poverty is capitalism. Sometimes people relate capitalism towards the rich get richer and the poor poorer. Now, this is a fine example of poverty. The rich utilize the poor, and the rich get richer and the poor poorer. The poor work for the rich, but they are not given the correct income for their own workforce, their own manpower. Now, this allows a very big gap of inequality in payment and social status. You can see the difference between people that is rich and people that is poor. You can tell that they are rich because of what they wear, what they eat, and what they practice. This can, in turn, however, be also a negative thing. Uh, now, let me ask you. Let me just give you an example. Any any African country you've seen so far, do you consider them a rich country, or do you consider them a poor country? Now, if you say they are poor country, no, they're not. They're not poor. The country are rich. The country are rich with minerals, with iron, with zinc, with many raw material. They are rich, but the people are poor. Why? Because foreign country have exploited them. Foreign country have taken their minerals, their raw materials, their richness of their countries, that makes the people, the native people, poor. Now this can lead to poverty. Now poverty is not a good sight to see if you see it up front. Poverty can be very, very gruesome. People in Africa, some, for example, on the furthest part in the African continent, let's just say Uganda. Some people in the native tribe in the fast corner of the borders of Uganda, they eat mud, they eat soil just to fill their stomach. Now, eating soil doesn't give you any nutrition, or it does give you mineral, but uh, try imagining eating soil and water together. You don't feel the pleasure of food, you just feel soil and water. Now, this can be very bad. They are malnourished, they are skinny to the bone because they don't eat well. Now, people die because of poverty. People die because they're poor. Why is that? Because the gap of income, or the exploitation of one country or one's own country is being practiced all over the world, especially in Africa. Even in Malaysia, even though we don't see it, there are some companies who um, practice the way of the rich get richer and the poor poorer. This is a very, very, as I said just now, bad thing to practice. People die because of this. People are having a tough life, a tough way of living. They don't have the means to provide for their children, for their wives, for their mother, for their husbands. It is a very sad thing to imagine and to comprehend. Now, the OECD report, according to the report in December 2014, the gap between rich and poor is now at the highest level in 30 years in most OECD countries. The overall increase. Sorry, wait. Sorry for that. So the 30 years, or is it the overall increase of accelerate away from the average uh, income for the poor. The OECD also suggests that reducing inequality through tax and transfer policy does not harm growth, so long as the chosen policy as well design is implemented. They argue that the redistribution efforts should focus on families with children and youth, and improvement in human capital investment by the promotion of skill development and learning. Um, that is all for the for the talk. So now I would like to know, do any of you have any questions to give so that I may answer? Can we go to the Q&A section now? No question at the moment. Okay. Um, so I'll just wait for the question, I guess. I may proceed. Okay. Um, Now we go about tax. Tax for to provide for the poor, for the people with poverty. What? Sorry, can't see that. What do you think would be the best way to treat inequality? What do I think? My perspective on inequality is, if we help each other or we discipline our children from the start to, in term of in economy in Malaysia. Oh, then the Malaysian government should find a tax towards the rich. From the rich, they have a lot of money. They do get a lot of money from their own, I don't know, company or their businesses. So the government should tax them for things. For example, let's just say that the government create some sort of legislation that if people with, for example, 1 million or 2 million income should pay taxes around what, 15% of their income, for example. That now that will greatly, no, not 50% is too much, but you get the idea that we need to tax the rich to help the poor, but not helping just, yes, tax the rich. But not only helping them in case of like just handing them out, but helping them in many ways, in studies, in a proper quality life, and for them to be more disciplined and be more hardworking than people that are rich, so they can, um, how do I say this, stand out. They can stand out for themselves. They can be more, how do I, responsible for their own life. That's what I meant. Because when they have a quality life and they came from a very difficult background, they will have this sort of responsibility, this sort of feeling that they should not stop being hardworking, because they know the toughness and the um, difficulties of being in poverty. That is what I think. So, and that's a good question actually. Any other questions? Tax the rich. Oh, very nice. Speaking about taxes, the government can intervene to promote equity and reduce inequality and poverty through the tax and benefits system. This means employing a progressive tax and benefit system which takes proprietarily more tax from those on higher levels of income and redistributes the welfare benefits to those on lower income. That's as we say just now, tax the people that are gaining more income than they can spend, because when people are rich, they have a very large amount of income. Now, people should not. There's a socialist idea. Sorry, this is good day. Do you think that financial plans supporting the poorest can make the poor become more hardworking? Okay, why is it not showing up here? I need to see the question. Wait, sorry. Good day. Do you think that financial plans supporting the poor can make the poor become more hardworking? We need to go this route specifically because we cannot just give them financial support, like just here money for you so live better life. No, that's not how it works. Giving money to someone will not help them better themselves. We need those money to prepare them to gain more money, to help them gain more money. So that's what I mean by making them hardworking. We cannot just give money. They will become lazy in a way if we just give them money. So we only just provide them, but we don't teach them how to support themselves. Giving money to them, uh, in a way, it's not just giving money just like that. Just giving money. My sense of giving money is like giving them a better education, giving them work, giving them a quality life, so they know how to be responsible. So they know how to be hardworking. They know that gaining money is not easy, and gaining money, if you gain money, you need to properly utilize them. You need to properly save them for the better future of your descendant or your children. That's what I think when I give money to people with lower income, is that we don't give them money just for the sake of it, but the giving money for them to provide for themselves, for them to be able to live independently. Is it e-certificate? I think that's a question for the e-KLESF. E-certificate. I'm not sure about the e-certificate though. Maybe, yeah. So we can carry on. We go to the stages of redistribution of income. Original income can be adjusted in a number of ways to either increase or decrease post-tax income. Now, this, as I said, we will. Beri mereka dancing, jangan baik ikon so orang boleh dapatkan ikan sebanyak mungkin. I'm not sure what that means. Pancing. Oh, yes. It's sort of like that. I understand your ideology. Give them the necessary tools for them to get a lot of food. That is, if that is what you imply, then yes, that is what I mean. Give them the necessary tools for them to better than themselves. Now, about the stages of redistribution. Now we go to the cash benefits. Cash benefits are designed to help those on low or zero original income and include contributory and non-contributory benefits. Contributory benefits such as pensions and job seekers allowance, and those were where individual or employers make a contribution into a national insurance fund. Hmm. I like the question you guys are asking. I enjoy it. So, any other question about the poverty? So, there's no questions so far. So, I may carry on to the next thing. Uh, Conference. We will start going on quality about women, necessary the opposite gender. Despite recent improvement in gender equity, uh, the National Science Found the National Science Foundation (NSF) reports that women in around the world, only 20% of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM jobs, and women of color hold less than 10%. Which, why am I not getting? Sorry. What are my thoughts in necessary action to be taken to bring a spike in economy to the COVID-19? Okay, that's a good question. Now, have any of you seen lately in Instagram and social media a lot of people, society people, they started to get in business? That is maybe uh, an example of how we can, as per your question, we can bring a spike in the economy of Malaysia due to the COVID-19. Because people in Malaysia are losing jobs left and right because of the COVID-19. Companies are losing money because of the COVID-19. So they have to fire some because to save their own because to save the company, because they don't want the company going bankrupt. So those who have been fired, they find other alternative to suit the means of living and also improve the economy of Malaysia. For example, um, what farming, and getting those food that they have farmed, they can create a product. They can create a product they can sell to the citizen of Malaysia, and money will be flowing, but at a slower rate. At least it will be stable for a while, I think, because um, to export our product is a difficult thing now, especially for COVID. So we should find other alternative in ways such as business, self provide for ourselves. For example, we can what sell our own what cook. We can cook and sell the food that we cook. We can also create DIY products so that it will be easier for selling those type of things. Like for example, what is the DIY product? Like for example, ring, like tripods, those things that we can DIY for ourselves. We can create those products in a small number, and people who are interested, we can sell it. Still, it is not a big spike to the economy of Malaysia, but it's still slowly maintaining the economy of Malaysia. That's what I think. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Okay. Do you think Malaysia is ready to offer the free education for poor students? About that, um, from my perspective, I think we're ready. But in the government perspective, they need, as I said, money for the free education, and money is not an easy thing to come by. So we have to cut cost on other things. Um, let's just say military, for example. If we cut costs in military and help the people of Malaysia that have lower income for education, uh, it may be possible, but cutting income for the military means that our military will be, well, some sort of defenseless maybe, or weaker than it is prior from cutting the income. We can cut some, but for now I think we can start off slowly. For example, only giving free education, for example, to those who are really really in need of education, or poor in the sense of poverty, like they what's the word, they only have income of 300 ringgit per month, and those are the type of people that needs free education for their children. What do you have to say to the rich who have mindset of rich getting rich, and poor getting poorer? What do I have to say? um, Pay your taxes, I guess. Pay your taxes. Don't cut tax. Don't not don't do not cut tax. What's the word? Don't pay your taxes. Pay your taxes. Help the poor. Help the citizen of your own country thrive, and possibly even um, making their life even more better. That's what I think. So it's already 2 p.m. Is that the only question? Thank you, by the way, for those who asked questions. Um, I would like to wait.
Okay, so thank you, Irfan, for the sharing, and also Dina for the sharing.
You're
So,
welcome.
okay, so I believe you already get quite a number of question from the participant, but okay.
Yes.
But it's okay. We will try to go and take some more question. If there's any, we try to give 1 to 2 minutes if the participant have any question to ask to Irfan.
Yeah.
So you can leave your question to our chat box here in the Zoom. Let me see if we have any question in the Facebook.
I talk about tax a lot, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So far we don't have any question through Facebook. I believe they already posted the question privately to you earlier, and you have answered most of the question accordingly.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So if there is no other further question from the participant, okay, I just would like to share with you that we have prepared a feedback form. We will paste it in the Zoom chat box later. So we hope the participant kindly help us to fill up the feedback form after the workshop. Your responses are very important in helping us to assess the effectiveness of this workshop. So thank you so much, Irfan. Thank you, Edina, for the session and the
welcome.
sharing. Okay,
Thank you very
before we
much.
end it, yes, welcome. Before we ended our webinar, I would like to inform the participant on our webinar tomorrow. Tomorrow we will have another 4 webinar session. We will start at 10 o'clock. You can check via our Facebook account, Kuala Lumpur Engineering Science Fair Facebook, or also our website, www.klesf.net. So we will start our first webinar at 10 o'clock in the morning with title of Heart Anatomy Cross Arts, followed by the AAET Distinguished Lecture by Professor Lim Chiu Tak. The title will be Point of Care Technologies for the Rapid Diagnosis of COVID-19. And at 1 o'clock, there will be another talk from our students. And then at 3, there will be a webinar by Guru Icon STEM with title Impact Kaedah Pembelajaran Teradun Stretch Nova dalam meningkatkan kebat pelajar. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I would like to remind you again, don't forget to fill up the feedback. Please like and share our Facebook. Should you have any other question, you can also post it in our Facebook, then we will try to deliver it or forward it to Irfan and Irdina for their answer.
Okay.
Okay, so before we end up the session, I would like to wish all of you to take care, stay safe, be careful. And the COVID-19 is not ended yet. Make sure wear your mask when you're outside. Okay, if there's no further question, we would like to thank you. See you tomorrow.
Yes.